Hi, I'm Caroline Schmidt, and I'm going to read from my translation of Esther Kinsky's Grove. Bassa. The earth in the Bassa Padana is bright brown in the light of these bitter cold winter days, in which I've never before seen it, cast almost purple, a surfeit of blue in the air under the vast sky. To the northeast, the Oiganian hills are a wispy blue, a timid sketch in the lower cusp of the sky. The fields are neatly plowed into small, broken-up clods of soft earth, alluvial land. The farms lie like islands in an ocean of fields, surrounded by trees, their bare branches reddish and motionless in the frosty, still air. Everything rooted, bound to the ground, has these bright, earthy tones against the sky. In the open farmyards between sheds and barns is agricultural equipment, and no sign of pasture as far as the eye can see. Perhaps a lesson learned during flood years, when the river, risen quietly above the banks overnight, wrested cattle from the meadows and carried them downstream, belly up, until they became tangled in unwieldy thickets, or wedged between splintered beams from the wrecked roofs of barns and farms, while the water level sank and farmers began counting what they had to mourn. The age of alluvial land is past, and the Po is lined on both sides by a dam. Small hamlets and villages lie in its shelter and shadow. This January, very little water runs in the river, and bright gravel islands have emerged. From the dam, the flow towards the delta, which begins already on the eastern horizon, is barely discernible. Between the dam and river are plantations of fast-growing trees, their spindle trunks like lines drawn into the fallen leaves. At a bend, the causeway retreats a distance from the river, making room for a construction site which seems to lie fallow, as if left in haste. Arranged in a circle, pipes are overlapped with pallid grass, and a collection of rusty objects, pressed into the concave embankment of the dam, shows just how well this uneven brown-red suits the landscape, as if it stemmed from the river blue and earth brown, from the thin wood of the willow thickets and the thorn bushes, which appear either yellowish or violet depending on the fall of light and shadows. Between thickets, a large crane-like machine stands against the sky like hastily scribbled punctuation devoid of meaning. All of the equipment gathered here can at most be regarded as letters, signifying nothing but colors. On the other side of the river, a tall church steeple stands crooked against the coppice, where lines from the grove jut out of the ground in taut, regular rows. It is a slash on the horizon, punctuation as well, but here, clustered around it is a run-on of roofs. A flock of pigeons takes to the sky next to the village, a small script in the air, shifting from a dark speckling to a brightly shimmering flourish. There, across the river, lying below it, is a sentence addressed to the plain. This short sentence, made unforgettable by the forward slash, forms an introduction to the curve that the river is preparing for in a gesture of peaceful generosity towards the land, which in its flatness must be prepared for every interference, every invasion, yet is embraced by the river with such mercy that it succumbs with all the willow-thicketed grace it has at its disposal. This curve, too, is a sentence, a small murmured excuse from the river on the brink of unraveling into the countless waverings concealed beneath all inconsistent names. On top of the small river promontory, formed at the beginning of the curve, a man in high boots fishes. The gravel islands and sandbanks are a stone's throw away. The water cannot be deep here. The fish must be sparse during the low flow, and all the more so in this coldness, which drives most fish to huddle in riverbed cavities to survive. The man, the fishing rod, the line, everything is motionless. The water flows almost imperceptibly. A short verse as well. The man by the river, the catcher in the gravel. Without a hope of a catch, he nevertheless clings to his fishing rod. Thanks for listening.